Yes, people. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Super Sunday. We're here live and kicking. We're with the brothers in the building. We got man like Goonie fresh in the building. Goonie, what are you telling them? You good? Yo, Goonie, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yo, what's good? What's good?
Yeah, man. Bless, man. It's all good. It's all good, man. We got Roms in the building. Roms, what are you telling them? You good?
Good, man. I'm good. Thanks for having me again, man. I'm good.
Come on. And then we got Igal in the building, you know what I mean? Rice, baby, and that, you know what I'm saying to you? What are you saying?
Good vibes, bro. I'm enjoying life right now. Good Sunday, you know?
Yeah, man. Come on, man. We outside. And man like George, you know what I mean? I don't know if that's do-rag. Is that a different type of do-rag? What's that new do-rag now?
Do-rag, man. Everyone knows me. The do-rag diaries. I'm a little bit of a do-rag connoisseur, man. I've got a little collection there.
Come on.
One color for each day of the week.
Come on.
We're there, man. We good.
Come on, man. We're here, man. You know what I'm saying to we outside. We got a lot to discuss, people. We got a lot to discuss. We got Lukaku going AWOL. We got Partey links to Saudi. We got Fabinho as well, leaving as well. Not going on tour with the Liverpool team. A lot to discuss. Please smash the like button on the video, people. If you're watching right now, hit the like button right now. But let's start with the Lukaku situation, man. I'm confused, you know, Goonie, man, as to what the hell is going on right now with Lukaku's situation. Look, apparently he loved Inter, and you know what I mean. He was basically doing interviews when he was at Chelsea, and all of a sudden now, you know what I mean. He's flirting with Juventus, which I don't understand. By the way, you know, this is a club, by the way, that was doing a lot of racist chants to him in the stadium. I don't know if you man remember. So I don't know why he wants to go to Juventus. I'm not saying, by the way, all Juventus fans are racist. I'm just saying that's the kind of club that you kind of have that memory about, innit? You feel me? But talk to me, man. What's happening with Lukaku?
Bro, listen, I disowned Lukaku a long time ago. He's not my problem. Do you know what I mean? He's not. And as everything that's going on, I honestly couldn't care less because we already know the status at Chelsea. He's not wanted there. Doesn't have a future at the club. Chances are he will be leaving. So whatever happens with Inter Milan, you can hold that. Do you know why Inter can hold that?
Hey,
because listen, they've messed us about for so long. Every time they want a player, we want a loan. Yeah, pay the money. This is Inter's fault. Inter took too long to pay up the P's. We're not even asking for 80 M's. We're asking for 40 million euros. And you can still do it with like a 30 M's, 35 M's plus 5 M's. It's not like what we're asking for is too much for a player that you apparently want. But clearly, Lukaku is a money man, innit? And how can you blame him? This wouldn't be the first time we'd be seeing such players, you know, players crossing over to rival clubs. Like I mentioned it in a video that I uploaded earlier. We saw the situation with Luis Figo going to Barcelona when they dashed the pig's head on the pitch. We've seen mad things happen in football. Now, in terms of Lukaku, clearly, I can see what it is. He's out of favor at Chelsea. Inter are not paying up the money. He still wants to play at a respectable level. And if Juve are the only club that are going to come in seriously and pay the money that the club are asking for and offer him the correct terms, why is he not going to take it? Because at the end of the day, he is a professional, regardless of what we feel. This man still has things that he needs to maintain in his life. Otherwise, he's going to go back pocket. So he needs to get the money from somewhere. So I guess that's probably what he's thinking. But in terms of rivalry, boy, in the Juve, interesting choice. Like you said, yeah, bare racial chants and these things there. Yeah, but if that's where he's going to go, it's up to him. It's his career. But the bottom line is here, as long as he's as far away from SW6 as possible, I couldn't care if he was in Tibet somewhere trying to play football. I don't care about this guy. So, Lukaku, best of luck wherever you're going. You're just not coming back to my club.
I don't know how Lukaku can get any support from anywhere. This guy is a top-tier snake. He's the type of guy that goes and talks to your girlfriend and starts snitches on you about any little thing you're doing now. He's like Mitch, you know, in Love Island, all this chat that people that Love Island. He's that guy. He's gonna go chat rubbish. He goes into Juve, Chelsea, Man United. This guy has no morals. He has no loyalty. He only cares about himself and what's best for him.
Who has loyalty in football? Let's ask this.
There is.
Who has loyalty in football now?
Look. We can hear that,
Money,
but with regards
loyal to money.
to money talks, we hear that. But there's certain rivalries we just don't touch. Lukaku clearly, look, he was literally a year and a half ago talking about how he was crying to go back to Inter. He cried his way back to Inter, and now he's going behind Inter's back to go speak to one of their biggest rivals in Juve about contract.
I was going to say, George, just to interrupt, in Italy, it's the norm to kind of do that. A lot of their legends have played for the big three. So I know we see it in England as, you're being disloyal, you're being snaky. But in Italy, it's the norm. Like, hasn't Pirlo played for all three? I think Vieira played for all three. Like, it is the norm to do it there. So they don't see it as deep over there. Do you know what I mean?
No, 100%.
But the thing is, though, I get that. But the thing is, though, man literally went on television as a Chelsea player and basically said, Inter's my home. I love Inter. Like, you twerked for them. And now, all of a sudden, because Dzeko is outdoing you, and an old man, Dzeko, is outdoing you, all of a sudden, you're getting back into your feelings. He's a very emotional player, Lukaku. And he gets in his feelings, man. And I don't know, man. He ain't built for this, man. Like, you're a professional footballer. You're meant to be, your mentality is meant to be on top. Like, he comes out and says, mentality and all this and that. He comes out and says, I can beat anyone and everything. Like, show that, innit, at Inter. Why can't you show? Dzeko's 37. Like, he's not going to take your position. Like, fight for your spot. But he ain't the main man anymore. And that's why now he wants to go to Juventus, where he can be the main man. Because Juventus are dying, man. Like, I don't know why he wants to go to Juventus. Maybe Pogba can link up with Pogba.
Can I give him some props, though? He did turn down the opportunity to go to Saudi Arabia. Like, a lot of players are just taking the bag and they're going to Saudi Arabia. He's one guy who said, you know what, I still have some work to do in Europe. So we got to give him some respect, because it would be easy for him to just say, I'm going to MLS, I'm going to Saudi Arabia, I'm going to end my career there. He still views himself as a valuable piece to any puzzle in Europe. So that's something I want to give him some plaudits for.
Yeah, I hear that. Listen, if you want brownie points for that, I'll give him that. But I think ultimately,
if Lukaku went to Saudi Arabia, no one would be surprised. We all know he's finished. Yeah, that is probably out of all players to go there, Lukaku is the perfect type of player to go there. If he's a money man and he's a player that we can all see is clearly finished, go over there and collect your bag, and no one would feel bad for you. No one would be like, oh, Lukaku, you're going too early. But there's certain other players that are going too early, and everyone's upset about it, which is understandable. No one's going to be like that.
One thing about we would accept the most. You're spot on.
One thing about football, I will say, and this applies to every single player. Everything and anybody is for sale. I don't care how loyal you think they are, right? I'm seeing talks about Marco Reus. Respectfully to Marco Reus, that guy hasn't had knee ligaments for the last 10 years. So he's got nowhere to go. Do you know what I mean? So that's not really you can't count that. But right now, doesn't matter who you are, bro. The right money that's been thrown at you, you are going to be going there. 100%. There's no such thing as loyalty no more. This ain't the 90s. People aren't playing 100% purely for the shirt and the fans no more. It's incentives.
Yeah, listen, go on, Rams.
Just to add on to what Goonie said, this is why I say to people, don't really idolize anyone, because you don't know what one's true motives are. Even with our fans, they're going into a meltdown of Hendo's potential moves to Saudi. It doesn't surprise me, because if what's getting quoted 700k a week, that is generational money. Come on now. And the thing is, I understand why some Liverpool fans are annoyed though, because he's done a lot for rainbow laces and LGBTQ, which I won't get into too much of that. So it is quite contradictory, but 700k a week, that you're set, your three generations set. You can't really be mad at someone for turning that down, man. But like Goonie said, everything does have a price, and loyalty is going out. For me, it's been gone for the last 2-3 years. It's been out the game.
Yeah, 100%, man. And listen, I don't know. It's a bit of an ugly situation, because now Juventus are relying on PSG to basically buy Vlahovic for them to get the money to buy Lukaku. It's a very, very... And then obviously Chelsea want to move away from the situation as well, from Lukaku. So I feel like football now is a domino effect now. It really, really is now. Everybody's kind of mixing with everyone. There isn't a pool of talent anymore. There isn't many strikers around anymore. And people are just doing anything now. Like, it used to be like everyone used to do their own business and nobody would interfere. But now everybody's mixing together. But sooner this Lukaku leaves, the better, man. Like, honestly, man, would you rank him like the worst striker in Chelsea's history in terms of the price tag, everything included. I know Torres is Torres, yeah, but Lukaku, the way it's been, though, man, like I don't
He's
know,
one
you
of
know,
the
man.
worst
At least
signings.
Torres was loyal.
No.
He's one of the worst signings.
He is, though.
In terms of in strikers. Nah.
No, in terms of Premier League signings, he's been one of the worst.
How?
Yeah.
In the sense that you have signed him for big money and he hasn't done
100
nothing.
million.
Loaned him back right away. He had based
I
on
guess,
Signing
I
for
guess
big
so.
money
But
is
in terms of,
fine.
in
Based
terms
on
of
the-
our history, I ain't seen anything as bad as Alvaro Morata. I haven't. I've never
No,
seen
but
him.
at
Really,
least
can I go one
Yeah.
further?
Worst.
Can
At
I go
least,
one
at
further?
least you were able to sell Morata and he got a hat trick. What has Lukaku done?
Goonie, can I go one further? I think there's, because of what you expect of him, I think there's slightly someone worse than Morata. I would say Shevchenko, just because of the promise and what he was supposed to bring to Chelsea.
To be fair on Sheva, he was kind of done out before when he came to Chelsea.
Yeah, the
anyway.
injuries, man.
Like, that's what I mean. So it was coming to the tail end. But with Lukaku, right? I will say this: in the short stint, he did contribute to some trophies. I'll say that, but that's as far as it goes. Still, for me, in relation to the price tag, obviously a huge flop, massive flop. And we just need to get rid of it. The silver lining in this cloud is the fact that Todd Bowley and these guys did not sign him, so they're not going to care too much about making a loss, which gives me a bit more optimism that he will be out of the door. If it was Marina and them, we'd be holding him down for the next 3 or 4 years of his contract, 100%.
Can I point out one more thing? Another reason why it's a massive L. He's an academy graduate you paid that much money for to bring back, and he flops that bad. People make
it happens. It is what it is. I got no excuse for that, bro. It is what it is.
Pogba's done way more than Lukaku. Like,
Yeah, but the thing is, though, this Lukaku's coming his prime. He's coming his prime. 28, I think he came in. I think it was meant to be the comeback story, the kind of story that never finished. It was almost like, you know what I mean? Like, it was a romantic story. He's coming back home, he said. Do you remember that video? He goes, I'm coming back home.
To say, yeah.
You know? And then he did that interview 3 months later. Was it even 3 months? How long was that interview? Was it in October? Was it in November?
December.
I'm not gonna lie. If it wasn't for that Arsenal game and Pablo Mari giving him a career at Chelsea, he never had any signs that he was going to
well, it's like I said, the man scored goals to win us trophies. That for me is the only thing I can take from it. That's it. Do you know what I mean? Outside of that,
bro, you would have won that. You would have won
the brought to win the Premier League, though. That's like the drop off the expectation when he came in 100 minutes.
There's no way. There's no way. Because if you go back on my videos, right? The first
maybe not yours, Gunny, but
the first thing that I will tell you lot is Lukaku was not enough. We needed to fix the midfield as well for any kind of title challenge.
I remember the narrative being like he was signed to the Premier League.
Just to add on to what George said, that once you won that Champions League and you sign, I'm not saying you personally, but like the general thing with Chelsea fans was, this is the final piece to the jigsaw. We can now challenge Liverpool and City. That was the general consensus. Maybe not from you, but Chelsea fans in general. The ones that I was speaking to were saying, I think we can go for it. But I agree. I still said they're not at our level, and it was evident. You still needed more. But Chelsea fans got in this high horse saying he's the final jigsaw and stuff. And I was saying to them, you need to calm down a bit. There's more still to be done.
Yeah, 100%, man. I think there's more to be done, guys. Make sure you know what I mean. You guys can do more as well by liking the video, people. Man, there's over 700 of you in the building. Please hit that like button. You know what I mean? It costs you nothing, man. So please do that. But you know what? Are you? Because I'm hearing reports, Goody, that you, man, are not going to buy strikers now. So are you confident in Jackson? I think is it Aubameyang still there, isn't it? Jackson Aubameyang, like
I'm confident in the fact
and Broha.
I'm confident in the fact that statement is not true. And yes, I know it came from Fabrizio Romano, but I know for a fact that's not true, bro. 100%.
Oh, you got inside sources then, yeah. Okay.
It's not even an inside. It's not even an inside source thing. It's not. It's there. It's there on Twitter. But apparently, like, it's a bit wide off the mark. And then all of this talk about Chelsea not interested in Vlahovic and one or two other strikers is wide off the mark. Do you know what I mean? The only thing that hasn't happened is Chelsea haven't made any kind of formal move for Vlahovic. And we're seeing, PSG have agreed personal terms of the player, but they also need to agree with the club. So, PSG are ahead in the race, but that don't mean that Chelsea are not interested. Also, as well, there are one or two others that Chelsea are considering. Do you know what I mean? Apparently, Ramos is a name that might come up later on in the window. The guy from Benfica. So
Benfica, yeah.
For me, it would be a bit nonsensical if he was to just go into this season with Broya and Jackson as the two striking options. Aubameyang ain't gonna stay. Let's have it right. Broya, you're taking a massive risk because he's come back off a very serious injury that's kept him out for the entire season. Jackson has only had one season in the top flight in Spain and has not played football in the Premier League. So for me, using my logic, it would be absolutely baffling as well if we was to just not address the striker situation. There's talk about Ivan Toney coming into Chelsea.
Yeah, January.
Makes no sense. We need to score goals now because by January, things in the Premier League can change very quickly. Who's to say by January we're anywhere near the top 4 without a striker?
Bro, you could be where you were last season.
This is what I mean. So what are we waiting for January for? I like Ivan Toney, but look, why am I waiting until January? We need one now.
I think any striker you guys bring in is going to be a stopgap. And if you guys were to actually be serious, you go get a Victor Osimhen. But I don't think you're going to.
Vlahovic and Ramos.
Vlahovic is not a stopgap.
You know what it is? I'm happy Goonie touched on the personal terms thing. We need to stop this notion once you agree personal terms. It's like it's bang on it. You're going to go to a club. You can agree personal terms with 3 or 4 clubs at the same time. It's once your actual club strike that deal. There's players that have given their blessing. You could even say Rice. Like I'm hearing Rice and City, there was personal terms agreed. But look, he's ended up at Arsenal. So just because you agreed personal terms, it doesn't mean you're guaranteed to go to that club. I wouldn't be surprised if Vlahovic ends up at Chelsea. I think one thing I'll give to Chelsea, they do act quite quick when it comes to getting players in. So I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up at a Chelsea, even regardless what Fabrizio's tweeted this morning.
Yeah, 100%. I think for me, like I said to you, Chelsea, you know what I mean, they could have, the hybrid wingers in terms of Nkunku. Sterling might get goals. They might not need a striker to get them the goals. It might be the forward line that get them the goals.
Man, the way that Pochettino plays, it's not even that. The way that Pochettino plays, he needs a man in the middle. He's not going to play with a false 9. He's not going to play with these inverted.
Yeah, that's why I'm surprised. They gone for Jackson.
He's never done that with Tottenham, and even before Harry Kane, he used to try and play with a solid number 9 down there, which would have been Soldado.
Yeah. At Southampton, he had Gabbiadini, didn't he? He had Gabbiadini, Shane Long in them, man. So
I just want to
know,
were you guys scouting Jackson previously to this window, or I've never really heard anyone?
I never heard of him.
I hadn't heard of him either, but apparently our recruitment team had already been looking at him for some time. But that's what they always say. I don't know. I don't know what to think about this.
It was like 12 goals in 14 games before he got injured. So apparently he hit the ground.
And this is the thing. I don't want to sit here and be that guy and say, yeah, this guy is unproven. He's shit. He's going to be a flop for Chelsea. That's a bit disingenuous on the player. Like the fact is, the bottom line is nobody knows. And for me, my concern is that it's another risk that we're taking for a crucial position. I want something that's a lot less riskier. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like there's too much of a question mark around him for me to definitively say, yeah, this is the man to lead the line. You never know. By the end of next season, he could have finished on, 30 goal assists in all competitions. You never know. I know it's extreme, but you never know. Or he could finish on 8 in all competitions. You never know.
Do you think there's a direct plan? Because you got David in, David Fofana. You got rid of him on loan now. You brought in
Nuremberg. Is it Nuremberg or Union Berlin? Someone like that.
Union Berlin. That's a good
name.
That's the one. Yeah.
You brought in Jackson. Now, if Jackson doesn't do the business and you bring in somebody else, could it be a situation where you feel like you guys are literally just trying to go for gambles to try to see if you can outsmart the market?
I think Dacho was really the one that I would be looking at as buy cheap, sell with profit. Do you know what I mean? If we're really going to make it black and white, I think he was bought to be sold on for a profit because I don't really see a plan for him. I genuinely believe that this recruitment team think Jackson has the ability to obviously perform. Otherwise, they wouldn't sign it because what's a telltale sign for me is, he's 24, 25. He's right at the end of the spectrum of what we're looking for in terms of age. So there has to be an element of trust that's going to be given to him. And it's just like I said, bro, I don't know. And for various reasons, I don't know. Because the main one being is we haven't seen this ownership and this model in action for a long enough time to make any kind of predictions as to where their plan of thinking is. We're very much still in a grey area, us Chelsea fans, because everything is still so new. The structure isn't fully completely set up as well. So we just, at this point, we're just going to have to go with it. I don't know what's going on here. So
yeah. I think Pochettino is a good manager to kind of find a plan. He's a good tactician.
Oh, he's 22.
So hopefully.
Jackson's 22.
Yeah, he's 22.
Oh,
22, yeah, young brother.
I stand corrected. I thought it was at 24, 25. My bad, people. My bad.
No, 22, yeah. So
what about Brohan?
It's young. Brohan now, he's come back from long-term injury, man. Long-term injury. We don't know how he's going to come back yet. Sometimes the knee, it can disturb your power as well. You know what I mean? So as a striker, you kind of need that, especially in the Premier League, man. So let's see where he goes in that aspect.
You know, it is with ACL. Me personally, I've never done, man, but close people around me have. It's not even that coming back from it. It's the mental side of things. You might not want to go do that extra yard of runs, or you might not want to go into that challenge. It takes a lot away, man. A lot of people don't come back the same after ACL.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Let's move on. Let's talk about Arsenal. Partey possibly moving to Saudi. You know what, man? I think for me, I think you've got to keep this guy, especially when you can't really get a player that's ready-made like Partey right now in the Premier League. I know people are talking about Lavia, but let's be honest, man. Nobody's like ready-made right now in terms of DM. You could go and get other ones in Europe, but again, they won't be probably proven. Do you think you should sell him, cash in, or do you think, keep him for at least one more season and then move on to Saudi?
There's two stories. There's two sides to everything. I fully agree with you. He's a quality player. When he's available, playing, he's one of the best. He's one of the better defensive midfielders in the league. But the issue that Arsenal have is his contract is running down, 2 years remaining. They're not going to give him a new contract. And it's more that the player might want to solidify his future. Making that move to Saudi Arabia, they're giving him potentially double his wages, giving like 400K. Arsenal's going to get a transfer fee for a player that we didn't think we were going to get a transfer fee for. And it gives us an opportunity to get a younger midfield. We have Declan Rice in, we have Jorginho, we have guys who can play if Partey is away, and also bring in another midfielder potentially like a Lavia. We get a younger squad, age-proof it for the future. I know it's risky for the short term because we have an opportunity to win now, but they view it as not only do they have the opportunity to win now, but with age-proofing the squad and bringing in a Lavia now, we have an opportunity to beat some of the other competition like Liverpool, Chelsea, to that young player. In the same breath, solve the issue before it gets to an issue with Thomas Partey, because in a year's time he could be leaving for nothing.
This is the thing, man. Rums, honestly, you might are looking for a CDM. You know what I mean? Would you take Partey right now? Like if you had a choice now,
100%.
Like obviously you're getting Lavia and that, but.
No, let me tell you, I rate Partey highly, and I've been saying I've not spoken to a guy in a while, but I've been saying for me, he's still Arsenal's best six, regardless of Rice. I still believe he's Arsenal's best six. But the reason why I'm going to tell you I wouldn't take Partey, because for me, him and Thiago are the same. Their ability, we know their ability, but they're not guaranteed. You don't know if they're going to play a 4, 5, 6 game stretch of game in a row, because a Partey could come in, and a guy would even agree. For 3/4 of last season, he was excellent. I rate Thomas Partey highly, but at the end, he tailed off. As did, you could say, majority of the Arsenal team did as well. But he was in conversation of being the best DM alongside Rodri and the Casemiros and whatnot. So I wouldn't want that same situation. That cool, we've got a player, because he does walk into our starting 11. Thomas Partey on his day is one of the best. But I don't want another player where it's like, when he breaks down, we don't know when he's coming back, and then when he comes back, how long is he going to play? I don't want that same situation. So me personally, I wouldn't take him at Liverpool based on ability 100%. But if you look at the bigger picture and the context behind it, I wouldn't take him. No.
You know what? Partey is the reason why we start off so well in the seasons, but he's also a big reason in why we drop off. And all the big games, he kind of seems to miss them due to injury. Like Man City at home last season, out of nowhere, he just got injured. Reliability is the best ability. Availability is the best ability. And he's not always available. And that's why Kieran Tierney has been moved on from the left back position last season. And this season, Declan Rice coming in, he's taking over Partey's mantle. Let's be honest. And it comes down to, do you rate Partey or Declan Rice more? Who do you rate more? It's not about that anymore. It's about...
I think Partey will play... Declan Rice will play a more prominent role than Partey. I think for me, that's a key signing he's made. I don't think he's doing it to compliment Partey. I think he's saying it. He's
I
moving
do
on
think
now
that
from
you can.
Partey.
I think
Yeah,
Arsenal.
I agree with you fully.
In a way,
Yeah.
I think Arsenal do need both of them because you're
100%.
Yeah, they
playing
do
in
for one more season.
Because just
because you're
imagine,
going to be playing in the Champions League. You're going to be needing to play two top players
Exactly.
twice a week.
yeah,
Even if you get the injury problems with Partey, when he is available, even if he's just available for one of those games a week, it takes a load off of Declan Rice, in which, let's be real, Rice hasn't even played at the Champions League level yet. So it's going to be something new to him playing against the midfielders of this high caliber. It's going to be it's going to be a new thing to a lot of your players. So you need depth in a lot of positions. You're going to need to rotate at times. You're going to need players to be fit and raring to go. And Partey, he's going to be a player who's not always going to be available, but when he is, he's going to be able to make the impact that you need because you're going to be able to battle across quite a few
I
competitions.
just want to say this. I want to agree. I fully agree with you, but here's the caveat. The caveat is if Declan Rice and Partey are both in the team, and we find a way that Kai Havertz gets into that 8 position, is Partey as one of your highest paid players being on the bench and not getting too much game time next season and rotating in and out, or having that player moved on, having a younger player like Lavia get that role, have a lesser role, and ease him into it with 1 year experience this season coming in, better for us. I personally think win now is better for us. So Partey would be better for us to see. I would keep Partey. But I understand the logic. That's all I was saying. I just want to make my point clear. I would keep Partey, but I understand the logic of getting rid of him.
Because again,
I wouldn't get it.
I was saying this from early doors. If let's say in the ideal world, Partey could stay fit for the majority of the season as he did last year, Partey in that 6 and Rice in that 8 and Odegaard just in front of them, that is frightening. I don't know what you lot say.
Yeah, I know.
I think that
I
middle
also
three would
So
be
much
frightening.
power and balance.
I don't think Havertz is going to be playing in the 8. Did you guys not see Arteta quote very recently? He changed. No, he changed from saying that he's going to be coming into the midfield. He said we're going to have to look at him and see where he fits best. And he's saying that he might be able to play in various different positions. So at this moment in time, that's what I'm saying. After seeing him in training, after seeing him in training, he clearly can see that he hasn't got the full ability to play the 8 better than some of the other players that Arsenal have.
George,
Let me just jump on this quick. Nicolas Pepe they're going to try to move him on. Lokonga has an injury, a muscular injury, so he hasn't even gone to Germany with the team. Cedric has no future at Arsenal, so we're going to try to shift him off. Emil Smith-Rowe is coming back from
Euros.
In the Euros, so it's understandable that he gets a little bit of a break. And Thomas Partey not going with the team, I don't think
No, he is.
No, he's going to be joining next week, but he hasn't gone with them today on the plane.
Gal, can I ask you something? I was having this debate with Monts. Big up Monts if he's watching, But am I crazy in saying this? Gal, ESR is higher in the pecking order than Fabio Vieira. Am I crazy in saying that?
No, you're not.
Thank you.
The thing is, he has to stay fit, man. This guy has to stay fit, though. ESR.
If we're being honest here, a lot of people have been harsh on ESR, but it's not really been severe injury. It's been more growing pains where he stopped start. Arsenal haven't addressed it. He's gone out on loans and they haven't addressed it. Now he's had the proper surgery. I've rated him highly. I think this player, if he can reach the ceiling, he can. I think he's very good. But not even just from Monts. I've been hearing from some other more rival fans that Fabio Vieira's high in the pecking order just because he's more of a recent signing. ESR is
Fabio Vieira's been a flop, man.
Fabio Vieira had really and truly like 2 good games at his time at Arsenal, but it's too early to write him off.
2 good games.
The reason why Emil Smith-Rowe I would say is ahead of him is because he was able to do stuff that Fabio Vieira never did. Emil Smith-Rowe was one of our leading goal scorers. He was a big part. And the groin injury, guys, do you realize how bad the groin injury is? His groin injury goes back.
Groins are bad, Groin injuries are bad.
When he was 17 years old, he had a similar injury, and it's part of his groin. Until he grew into his full body, he couldn't have the surgery. Now that he's had the surgery, hopefully he can do well going forward. But Emil Smith-Rowe will always.
I think he's a good player, man. You know what it is with Smith-Rowe? I think he's so cultured. He's a cultured baller. Like I reckon he could play in Pep Guardiola's team in terms of the way he just is, in terms of the silkiness. You know what I mean? The way he glides across the pitch. I think he's that sort of player. But you know what I mean? Injuries, man, that's a problem.
You should let him come home, man. You should let him come home because he's a big time Spurs fan. I don't know if you know. So
I didn't know that.
He's not the season holder. So he's not the season holder.
Come home.
You should let him come home, man.
Gal, do you think this plays into the part as well? There's a bit of sentiment where he's a Hell End graduate as well. He's a fan favorite. I just think that slightly puts him ahead of Vieira as well. And I just think, I don't know Arteta personally, obviously, but I even think Arteta himself sees ESR a bit ahead. But when I was hearing this debate whether Vieira is ahead of ESR, I was like, no way. No, I just couldn't.
Let me phrase it perfectly. The fans have a bigger investment in Emil Smith Rowe's success than the club. I genuinely believe in that because of the connection he has with the fan base and being a hell.
And you know what, Gal? When your club's in the mud and you always have that player that kind of takes you out of the mud, you're always going to have that affection.
But you want to know something? There are our fan base is as toxic as every other fan base, and there are some people who have already shifted away from Emil Smith Rowe because of his injuries.
Yeah.
So they might sell him. Aston Villa comes in for a bit again. They might sell him.
Yeah.
For me, I think Mikel Arteta is going to have to try to use him in that same role that he had Xhaka in that left 8. See if he can provide do well there. But I don't know if his defensive ability is as good as his attacking awareness.
I don't know what Vieira's good at, man, if I'm being honest. I've watched him, and I'll be honest with you, I don't know if he's, again, for me, I don't know if he's a bit too lightweight in that aspect. I don't know what his best position is. Is he a 10? Is he an 8? I don't know. I think a loan would suit him for me. I'd get Fabio Vieira playing on loan, and just gather his form again. Because I know this is the problem is, I think sometimes when you get these sort of players from Portugal or these two leagues and they're not developed yet, like Fabio Vieira played hardly 2 seasons in for, was it Porto you bought him for? Like he barely malnourished and barely kind of like, done anything. Like he barely developed his own game and then you spent 35 million on him. I just thought it was maybe a potential signing, and that's what football is becoming now. It's potential, isn't it, rather than what's ahead of me right now.
I think Fabio Vieira has good passing ability. It's just we haven't seen him. We just haven't seen him perform well overall throughout 90 minutes in a long time. He started off well in his first 2 games, and then after that, didn't really see. We seen a confidence player.
I remember after the defeat against United, I was watching it with my brother, and I think he played Brentford, your comeback game, and he was excellent. I think that's when Anweri made his debut as well.
And he scored.
I was thinking this could be Vieira's turning point, and then he kind of didn't start much games, and in the games he started, he didn't really make an impact. I just think Vieira's hardly going to play this year. I think he's going to play in the cup games, Carabao, maybe FA, but in the Champions League and Prem, I think this is a player that Arsenal end up moving on, in my opinion.
But understand, he's the understudy to one of our best players in the league. There's going to be a massive drop-off when you're the understudy to Martin Odegaard. Like, he came in for Martin Odegaard in 1 game, had a really good game against Brentford, but he hasn't been able to replicate that. So
I think the problem is, though, it's more, as you've seen with Odegaard, when he came for his first 3-4 months in the Premier League, he struggled to adapt, and then he came the next season and he found his feet. I think the problem with Vieira is his body isn't ready for the Premier League. You see a lot of these players come over from the foreign leagues, like the French league. They're very small. They're like the 5'8" small figures. Like they struggle to adapt to the roughness of the Premier League. You even see, and then they get injured and they pick up another niggle, and then you start to see they just don't get comfortable in games. So for me, I just think that he's one of those players that aren't going to be able to pick it up in the Premier League. You're going to probably see Arsenal get a bid for him, and they'll accept it happily, because once they see 25, 30 M's back and they paid 40 from a La Liga club or something like that, and you'll probably see him move on and do well. That's the thing. He's a good player with good technical ability, but as Rom said, he's so far down the pecking order, he won't get his chance next season unless there's loads of injuries. But he's never going to be used in the Champions League, never in the Premier League, really. And the cup games, let's see if Arsenal prioritize it or not. But he might just be playing with the other the second string.
That second team,
He might even be able to make the impact he could. So it's just not looking good.
Yeah, absolutely. E says Igalo is changing topic. Cook Havertz. Listen, man, that's too soon. Even for me, shamelessly to cook Havertz right now. It's crazy.
The only thing I will say that was worrying, and I don't want to take it too much out of context, but when Arteta said, we'll see how he fits, time will tell, that's a £65 million signing. You kind of have to have an idea already. That was the only thing. When I read that, I thought, he might have, Eddie and Arteta have been very good in their recruitment, but he might have got this one. I think most of us agree that you have to let him have his chance, but I think most of us agree he's not going to do well at Arsenal. But when you hear the manager say that from the horse's mouth, time will tell, need to see where he fits in. I don't know, guys. As an Arsenal fan, are you worried about that? Or
listen, everyone will sit here and tell you that 100% when Kai Havertz came in, there were some questions on where he would play. But I do think him having his first preseason game, and speaking about him, there was always a plan to play him across the front 5. I would say that is the midfield and across the front 3 and even in the 10. So I don't think there's anything that he said. We're reading too much into it. We shouldn't go too far. It's the same as like the Balogun quotes. People are thinking Balogun's going to get sold because he left the door open to sell him. We don't necessarily know what the manager's saying. Sometimes they say these things just to leave the opportunities open for him.
That's another one as well. the Balogun situation, by the way, that's one as well that came out. He might be going to Inter now, which is an interesting one.
Yeah,
So
I
again,
saw
when I
that.
told you about the domino effect, now Inter Milan want a
Yeah.
striker and Balogun. Like, what would you say is a respectable fee for Balogun? I'm thinking for me, if you can get him for 30 million, I think that should be a decent
how-
deal.
I
30
think-
Euros or pounds?
Pound.
Probably the Euros.
pounds.
Listen,
No,
The
no,
thing
no,
is,
no, no,
Inter aren't going to
pound,
pay
pound.
no more than they wanted to pay for Lukaku. They're not going to pay more than
That's what I'm
30
saying.
million
30 for me. People are
guys,
saying 50.
this is what I'm
50.
saying.
Come on, man.
I'm saying anyone who comes to me, come correct. We want at least 50 million. But if you meet us halfway at 45, 40, we'll talk.
How long has he got left on his contract?
Bro, the man has a reasonable contract. Like, we literally
know
just.
the
The thing is that you need to remember, yeah, you're not getting 50 million from a European club.
No,
They
no,
don't
no,
pay 50 million.
understand.
European, wait,
Understand,
no, let's
Well,
go.
AC Milan as well.
We have to. We cannot
but
be
George,
wrong.
we have-
1 second. We cannot sell somebody who's this highly touted, who's just scored 20 goals last season.
Say that.
cheap.
Yeah.
At the same time, we have to get a good return on investment for a player.
But you also know, but the thing is, you're
who's under
right.
contract for another 3 years.
But you
You know
also
what,
need
Phil?
to take into
You know what,
consideration, wait, the player's wishes.
Two
If the player wishes to leave and a big club, you have to remember, Inter is not a small club. Inter is
Yeah,
a
they're
big
massive.
club.
No,
For a
but you're
21-year-old,
club, man, big
to hit,
Point.
You
and a
bigger than
21-year-old
Arsenal, let's
backup
be honest.
striker, he's third in the pecking order for Arsenal. Arsenal need to respect the fact that he's low down the
George,
pecking order. If
You're
they don't
missing
say,
my point. You're
Look.
missing my point. We set the bar at 50, same way other people set ridiculous prices, and then we'll be like, you know what? We'll meet you somewhere lower. But this whole thing about we want 30 million, no, that's ridiculous. He's one of the most highly touted young strikers. That he just scored 20 goals. He's the United States leading goalkeeper. His market value alone is more than 30 million. So I would say more realistic is 40 to 45 million. But if we can get 50, I'm selling him to anybody.
The thing is,
That's crazy. 50.
I agree with it. I agree with Saeed.
To be
but
fair,
I
let me ask you a question.
understand
He's
the-
got a point, you know. I'm going to back him up here. Hoyland is in Denmark International, yeah. The guy scored 9 goals last season for Atalanta. He's had one good season, yeah, but he's quoted at 50 million. So maybe Igal's got a point. Maybe
You know what?
he's put a body
You know
of
what
work
is
for
it?
one season, and he's right.
That's
Look
what
who's
it's
interested.
That's what it is, Saeed, because I agree. I kind of agree with logic, because regardless what you think of the French league, he was up there with the Messis, the Neymars, the Mbappe in the goal score. I think he finished, correct me if I'm wrong, Gal, third highest top goal scorer in the league. So
who was
Yeah.
the top goal scorer in that league? No, let's have it
Yeah.
right.
George,
No.
that's why I
Let's
said-
have it right.
George,
Who was
George,
the top goal scorer in their league?
Like I said,
George, that's why I said
Alexander
irrespective.
It was a guy that couldn't even get 10 goals. It was absolute Barmazet. Like, he just left Arsenal.
Oh,
You
no.
can't even put
George,
respect
you
on
still
that
need
league.
to score what's in front of you, bro. You still need to.
yeah.
I think he's a good player, personally.
Let me give you guys an
Same.
example. Chelsea were linked to a striker who scored 2 goals less than him for around 40 million the other day.
No,
What's that?
wait. So what I'm
guy
saying,
from
now,
Montpellier.
I'm not
Those are currency.
saying he's not worth 50. If you sold him to another Premier League club, easily 50 million. There's no doubt about that. But when you sell players abroad, let's be real now. Inter Milan, AC Milan, Juventus are hardly ever buying players for 50 million pounds. They're not spending that on.
That's the problem.
player that's
You're
not
right,
proven.
George. You're right.
40
They
million
spend
euros
that
not
money on the proven players. Look at Bayern right now. They're bet like they don't even want to put their hands in the pocket above 70 mil for one of the world's best strikers. These European clubs have not got the money to be putting in on a 21-year-old who may
then who
not
do you
give
sell
them
him
that
to then?
guaranteed
They
investment.
won't
How
sell
much
to
is he worth
Chelsea.
to you?
They won't sell to
And-
Chelsea or United.
So what I see is that he's gonna go and he's gonna go for a lot less than what you want, but that's because he's gonna force it through, and you have to allow that.
Yeah.
The player has had a good season. You have to respect his wishes. That if you're not gonna play me, let me go to another
Okay,
big
so
club.
meet me in the middle. What's
Yeah.
realistic? I'm
It'd be
saying
around 35
30,
million.
I'm saying
35 million
30.
euros.
30,
Like 35 million
35
euros.
million
is very good
euros.
price.
Yeah.
I think
35 million
Yeah, I
euros.
think if he's going to in Italy, your max you're going to get is 40 million euros, bruv.
Okay.
I think he's going to Italy.
Yeah.
If he's being sold to like a Chelsea or a Man City or something, then you'll probably get
then
your
Gal,
They
50.
definitely broke.
Okay, this
You're
is-
right.
this
Gal,
is-
you know
this
what?
is what I
Gal,
like.
you
This
know
is
why
what I
you
like.
sell. You know
Let
why
me-
you sell as well. Word to what George said. Not only you have to respect the player's wishes if he does want to leave. It's not like you have to pay for this guy as an academy graduate, so you're actually making a profit on him.
You know
That's
what?
why.
I agree with you, but this is the issue. What I'm telling you is what I think the club wants. What you guys are telling me is what's realistic for people who want to buy. Now, realistically, we know the value that teams want to buy him for is never what actually gets sold. We're going to probably meet in the middle. It might be 40 million. It might be 40 million. That's not unrealistic.
But
this
but
whole-
do
this
you
whole thing-
but would you accept that Premier League clubs will perhaps be a little bit more willing to take a little less from outside of the Prem than inside the Prem.
I think this whole thing is ridiculous because I don't know why more Premier League teams aren't after him because I've seen guys go from Liverpool, like Ryan Brewster for how much money?
No, but the thing is, when you go to another team, when you go to European teams, a lot of what Premier League teams do because they know they're going to go for lower. You're gonna put in a sell-on clause around.
That might have been Solanke.
Really, truly,
bro. 50 million is the new 25. Get it through your heads. Forget about the price.
Not to European clubs.
No, what though? To be fair, you know, Sheffield United, they bought what's it called, Brewster for 23.5 million.
Yes, it was 20. Yeah,
that was when they was in a Premier League, and look what they've done since. He's only
basically 50 of him. And
bro, where is he now? What is he? Where is he now? Now, no disrespect. What is he doing now, Ryan Brewster? Is he at Sheffield United?
Hot take. I don't think Arsenal should keep him because if we're gonna get rid of Partey. And we're gonna need to sell him also to raise the funds for a quality backup.
Get rid of what? Get rid of Balogun.
I want to get rid of Balogun.
Would you rather keep Eddie Nketiah over Balogun?
No, it's not that I would rather keep. It's more that I would get rid of both of them if I could. That's the honesty, right? But the thing is, I can see that there's no market for Eddie. So
that's a good point. That's a very.
I think there is a market for Eddie though.
I don't think there is.
Not for a price worthwhile. I don't think.
Not for a good price. So based on that,
around 20 million last year.
Let me ask you guys this: do you guys not view this similar to the Ainsley Maitland-Niles situation, where when we won the FA Cup, he was so highly touted, people were offering
40 million.
30 million everywhere.
Yeah.
We said no. In a year's time later, we regretted it. I think it could be a similar situation.
That's true, you know.
Balogun has just performed
especially if he's not going to play as well.
He doesn't want another loan. Why keep him in the squad to be a bit part player when we could sell him now, put a buyback or a sell-on clause?
No, that's fair.
Get him back.
Yeah. That's a big. You know what, man? It's a big like plan for clubs now. What do? Do they keep a talent or do you just sell him now while you can? I know we've got number 11 now. You know, the one that's obviously out now. Obviously, he's got 2 years left on him. You know, the club, do they sell him? Or do they keep him back and you know what I mean, or loan him?
That's not even calling him by his name. That's calling him.
No, I'm just saying, though, innit? Like, you know what I mean? I'm just trying to say, like, that situation there is a mad situation. Like, what do you do then? Do you sell him or do you keep him? Like, I know Tottenham have been doing it for the last 10 years of Harry Kane. Like, he went from like even still now we're talking about Harry Kane leaving and going. Like, it's mad. Like, since he came to the football club, selling or going. Like, what's going on? Like,
no. Let's not do that. Harry Kane's the talk about Harry Kane leaving has only been like
it's been there, man.
The last three,
even before he signed his contract. When did he sign his contract? Though?
Before he signed his contract in 2018, when we was playing at our best, and we literally just off.
I mean, it was always linked to Man United, though. Man United. It was always there, though.
Off the back of the Champions League final, he signed a contract, no questions asked. He didn't even think twice, and everyone knew that Harry Kane was signing. And once he signed that contract, he was in Tottenham. And then only the last 3 years, since we've had all these problems, since Mourinho's come in, and then we had Nuno and all these other managers, that's where it's really been. Yeah, is Kane leaving? Is he staying? And probably in the only part. Yeah. Where it's actually fair enough at this moment in time. Let's not even talk about that.
That's you know, it's Kane. As Pat said earlier week, man. I think
we're going to talk about him now, really.
You know, it's Kane. I think there's always been links, but I think for him in the past 2 years, he's now considered. I agree with you. Since 2021, that before City got Haaland, I think in his head, that's when he thought, you know what, it's time to go. But there's always been them links there. Kane to that has been a link for about 5-6 years. Even if it's not coming from his part, it's always been there.
Yeah. Oh my days! What a shot from Djokovic! But yeah, listen,
crazy.
Crazy. You know what I mean? But I feel like for me though, with the situation here, I feel like ultimately, you know, you have to sell players now. You have to just take a gamble, and later on, I think Balogun could be a situation where he could come back in about 3-4 years' time and still be at what 25, 26.
He's not near his peak yet.
Yeah, so still, I think for me, it's not the end. He's 22, Balogun. 22, just turned 22. So even if he left Arsenal, he could come back at 25 as a matured footballer. And then Jesus by then is probably, 30 years old? You know what I mean? So I reckon for me, like, it's not the all MB, man. Young TT says that Luis Openda just went to Leipzig for 46 million plus 6 million add-ons. He scored the same amount of goals as Flo Balogun. 35 million euros, you know.
That's actually someone that I said if Chelsea want to take a risk on a striker like that, they should be looking at this guy. And
would you take Balogun?
Yeah.
Would you take Balogun at Chelsea because you've been linked to him?
With Jackson here now, no, I wouldn't. But if Jackson wasn't here, I would probably have taken him, and I still would have signed a senior striker ahead of him. But I would have had, Balogun as a number 2 and Main more established striker as a number 1. 100%, I would have taken that.
I don't think Balogun wants to be a number 2. I think Balogun, wherever he goes, he wants to be the number 1. He wants to continue his development, and I feel like for his own sake, in 2 years' time, the World Cup is again. If I'm not mistaken, he's gonna want to be starting. Is it 2 years' time or is it 4 years' time?
2 years.
No, it's 3 years, isn't it?
Yeah, 3 years.
3 years time. Yeah, 3
Euros
years.
Next
3
Euros
years.
next summer.
So there you
Euros
go.
next summer, man, in Germany. So yeah, listen, it is what it is. Guys, 1.4K in here. People, man. Appreciate you guys watching the show, but we're only on 398 likes. That means 1,000 people are just chilling. They're just chilling. Imagine that, 1,000 people. Bro, 1,000 people are just chilling, not liking the video. Like, come on, guys. Like the video, people. And make sure you're following everyone's channel. The link is in the description. Let's talk about Fabinho, man. Just got some news coming out now. To be honest with you, it's not groundbreaking news. A lot of people are saying to me, go check it out. But Liverpool and Al Ittihad are discussing key details of Fabinho deal, including installment, payment terms, and more after official proposal submitted. Fabinho agreed personal terms after speaking to Nuno, but clubs need to negotiate details before green light. Talks on even today. You know what, man? I don't think Liverpool fans expected this one, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I feel like it's now become a bit concerning now for you guys to get a DM more than ever. Like, you've been dilly-dallying around Lavia for a while now. Like, you might need to really fix up now, because as much as we say he's finished and whatnot, he's still been a top player for Liverpool for the past 5 years. Let's not. He's, one point you were saying he's the best DM in the world, and Premier League even at least. So, like, what are you saying, man?
You know what is
Rums?
For me, yeah, you're spot on, because this kind of came out just a couple of days after the proposed Hendo move, and for me, it's a thing where, first of all, I'm going to give him his flowers before I justify my reasons why I don't mind him leaving. He's a Liverpool legend. He came into the Champions League season, so just before. No, he is a legend. I won everything, and people say it was Alisson and Dyer that took us to that next level, which they're the first two that did. They were the two final missing pieces of the jigsaw. But him as that DM, we never really had that before. You had the Lucas, you had the Joe Allens, even the names I'm naming you now. He took us also, for me, in that 6th role to the next level. So he is a Liverpool legend, and he won everything for us. However, we signed him for 43 million. El Ittihad come in with a bid of 40 million. We're only going to take a £3 million loss on profit, right? For me, it is a no-brainer, because I've said, right, for experience-wise, I do want to keep him, because I still think he can get to somewhat a decent level, but he's not going to get to the Fabinho levels of 3-4 years ago. He just won't. But if we can make back what we spent on him, it's a no-brainer. However, we need to now bring in a player that's experienced, because if you're telling me Hendo and Fabinho leave and we're getting Thuram and Lavia in, for me, that doesn't make sense, because it's two players which, got a lot of potential, but they're not experienced. I don't think we could sell a Hendo and a Fabinho and get a Lavia and a Thuram.
Are you not worried about chemistry problems? Because having a whole new midfield 4, midfield 5 coming in and having to adapt to the Premier League, having to adapt to Klopp's system, having to adapt to all the other players that are so used to playing together, will that not be a problem? Because you're going to have to find out.
Because like you said, we've got a new midfield, and with them two going, I do worry, George. It's bad that I'm saying this, but that's the only area now, because we're top heavy in attack. I'm not worried about attack at all. Even last season, scoring goals was not our problem. I think we were the 3rd or 4th. I think we scored the 3rd highest most goals in the league. That is not our problem. But the midfield is new. With Sabozlai, with McAllister, 2 guaranteed starters. If we do sign Lavia, he does go straight into that role. But for me, and I rate Lavia, even at the back end of the season, we nearly went for the quad. Before Southampton signed him, I said, watch out for this guy. I saw him a few youth games, and I know people say youth games compared to first team is different, but with some players, you can just tell, you can just see their quality. I said Lavia's got to be a big player, but to come in, Southampton, Liverpool, different level. To come in that 6, he might feel the pressure, and I do feel we'll need to then probably go for a more experienced player like a Amrabat or Paulina. Now, Paulina will be hard to get over the line. Fulham don't need to sell him. He just signed for them. I think he's got 3-4 years left. they can play hardball in him, and I don't think he's going anywhere. And Amrabat had a respectable season in the World Cup and for Fiorentina, got to Conference League final with them. But there's a lot of Liverpool fans that just think Thuram and Lavia coming in for Hendo. I don't even think Hendo will go now, by the way. Fabinho going the other way. I think this now means Henderson stays, which I've been someone who wants to have gone, but yeah. But I think now we can't get a Lavia and Thuram in because it lacks experience. And like George said, there's no chemistry there. And then some fans will say, but you still got Thiago. But again, similar to what I was saying about Partey earlier, you don't know when he's going to play. You just do not know when that guy's going to play.
That's true, man.
I've done a 360 spin. I do not rate Jordan Henderson, by the way. I respect what he's done for my club, but now Fabinho's gone the other way. We do have to now keep him. We do.
What? You're gonna keep him?
Yeah, we can't sell both. We can't because for me it lacks experience. Like,
well, I don't know. Is that just a lot of trust in SSG, or is that just not a trust in your ownership? What is that? Because for me, if you've been crying out for them to leave, though, in terms of new rebuild and new kind of restructuring of that midfield, that's not.
But Said, I never thought it would be both. I thought it would be a shake-up.
Oh, I see.
Not a complete. I thought at least one of them will stick because, like you said, Fabinho, this news kind of came out the blue. But for both of them to then go,
bro,
I don't know, man.
I think this is what you needed. You needed a midfield overhaul. Now, getting rid of all three of them would be mad. But the reality is, Henderson wants to leave. He accepted the deal, and he's going to get life-changing money. If you guys can get a decent fee, sell him. Fabinho, that's the one that I'm like, you should keep Fabinho to ease in a Lavia. But guess what? If you're going to keep Henderson, and you think if Lavia is not playing and Henderson comes in, is he a good enough defensive midfielder to cover you guys?
The thing is, I think it is, but for me, it's too much pressure. I think because I think in Lavia we do get that deal done, right? But I think
you need two midfield signings if you get rid of both of them.
That's what I'm saying. Guy. We need two. And Lavia, he's still quite a novice. He's good. I rate him highly, but he is a novice.
Yeah.
We need that other midfielder that's going to come in.
What about the youngster? Starts with a B.
Bajicic. Because this is what I'm saying, Gal. This is the problem if we sign a Thuram, a Lavia, and Fabinho and Hendo both go. You've got Sabotage, a new signing. McAllister's a new signing. Thiago, who's injury prone. Bajicic, which is still quite young. Lavia, he's just cool. He'll come to the team, but he's quite long. A Tyler Morton, which you probably even forgot.
Tyler Morton, no.
Yeah,
he's not ready.
I think Klopp's going to ready, but I think Klopp's going to keep him. He likes these
Imagine if Thiago goes as well. Imagine Thiago just goes as well. It's peak for you, look like in that department.
It's possible, but I don't think we sell all three. I don't think we sell all three. That would be crazy.
If they sell Thiago also,
that's got midfield free, literally from last season, just gone. But
so why don't you just hijack the Caicedo? Like, you know what? Just hijack Caicedo. Get Paulinho. Like, who are you gonna get? Like Lavia for me. I don't know if he's the answer right now.
You need to remember who our ownership. You see this Liverpool links with Caicedo and Levi Colwill. I've not entertained it for a second.
Yeah. You feel like,
You all know on this panel, we're just not going to pay that money. And some little fans would say, yeah, but if we sell Hendo and Fabinho and we recoup about 50 million, it's feasible. It's just not, because you know what happened? I think it's a smokescreen. I think Chelsea are just using this news. The minute that, let's say we put in a bid for Caicedo or we start to be a bit more serious, Chelsea's going to go, here you go, pay out the money, and they're going to sweep it up from under our noses. And with this Colwill deal, I just think Chelsea are just not going to sell him. Once he has that convo with Mauricio Pochettino, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Goonie, Badichile's also injured. I don't think he'll start the start of the season. I just don't think any of them deals will get done. Paulina, I do want Said, but we're not going to pay that much. I think Fulham are quoting about 90 million. We're just not going to pay that. It's just
They're mad, man. Fulham are crazy because obviously, I mean, now everybody knows West Ham have got money now as well, so they got the Declan Rice money. So they're thinking, right, let's start a bidding war. You know what I mean? And for me, Paulinho, they bought him for I think 30 million, which is crazy. And obviously, they're within their right to sell him for at least 30, 40 million more because he's had a brilliant season and he's Premier League proven and people are desperate to buy DMs, So
and look how long he has left on his contract side. I think he's got 3-4 years left.
3 years left on his contract.
Yeah.
You know what?
Who actually thinks going to come to the...
I was going to say, this is another reason why we spend so much money on Declan Rice. Look at the market nowadays for defensive midfielders. It's not that high level.
No, people...
Leadership.
Hey,
People are saying it's bad, but
You're
I'm
trying to
actually
justify it
thinking
now. You're
that
trying to justify
I was about to say that's what I was about to say. I think
it.
the
You're
player,
cheeky.
the player that West Ham are looking to buy from Ajax, Edson Alvarez,
He's
who
dead, man.
Chelsea was
He's
looking at not too
awful.
long ago.
I
He's
don't
gonna
want
come in and he's gonna surprise a lot of people. He's really good.
Can
No,
I
I
just
don't
say,
think he's
in
that good, you know, man. He
Can I
couldn't
just
even
say-
get to the Mexico squad. The Mexico squad, yeah. I remember one game, Guardado was starting ahead of Edson Alvarez. I don't know, man. Edson Alvarez is good, but he's very, very slow, man. I think he's going to get caught out in this
There's been-
Premier League, man. I really
I
do.
don't know if the panel have heard in the past 24 hours, but we've been linked to 2 players, right? A DM called Andre from Brazil. Again,
Good player.
similar
Who's
to
he?
that.
I've never
say
heard
again?
of him, me.
I've
never heard of
I've
him.
never
Who
heard
is
of
he?
him.
He's
He
a
must
good
have
player. He's a
literally
good
a day
prospect.
ago, but I know I think he's a DM. He can play the 8 as well. I think he's 22, 23 from the Brazilian league. I think he plays for Corinthians.
Flamengo. Well,
Flamengo,
no,
yeah,
it's,
Flamengo.
I always get mixed up. It's the one with the purple and green.
Yeah, and then I think Flamengo are red and black, aren't they?
Something like that.
No, Corinthians
Yeah,
are white and
yeah.
black.
And Flamengo are red and black. I get confused with that league, man. So he's one of them, but again, quite young, similar to Thuram and Lavia, not that much experience. But then we are linked to, and I've watched him a few times, Florentino Luis, 23, plays for Benfica,
Yeah.
did well in the Champions League. He's someone that could be feasible. Again, I think Benfica will play hardball, but we've got that relationship with the Nunes deal. That's one that's been touted that looks like it could happen in the last 24 hours as well. But
you ain't dealt with them since they've had Rui Costa, though, have you?
True,
Always got
true.
Rui
And you know
Costa.
he's stubborn. He's very stubborn.
Yeah, he's
but-
stubborn, man. He's stubborn, man. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
let's see, man. Let's see. But Liverpool do need to sort themselves out. Another one that needs to sort
Don't
themselves
be
out.
surprised if
Last
Lavia
but not
ends up at. Don't be surprised if Lavia ends up at Chelsea or Arsenal, though. I don't think he's gonna go to Liverpool.
Now, I said if you lot come in last minute, I think Lavia ends up an Arsenal player because right now, as it stands, you're more attractive than us. But however, he might look, it's a Euro year. We need to take this into consideration. It's Euros at the end of this season, and Lavia.
Yeah.
He walked into our team, and I think you agree, Agal. He goes to Arsenal. He doesn't play straight away. He's not a starter, so he might think I've got a Euro campaign at the end. Maybe
Who does
Liverpool's the
Lavia play
better
for
option.
international, by the way? Lavia, is he international?
Belgium. He's
Belgium. Oh, yeah.
And also,
Yeah.
if we're being honest, yes, Arteta done well, but Klopp's also the better manager, and I think Lavia that could be in his thinking as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Big up my guy Lemmy. He becomes a new member from of the channel. So big up Lemmy from Hamburg.
Yeah.
I appreciate you joining the channel memberships. Anyone who wants to become a member, press the join button, people. Big up to everybody here. Still 1.4k. Like the video, people, as we kind of talk about the last subject, and that is Harry Kane. Bro, I don't know how you felt, George, here when the Bayern director was speaking like that. Like, if I'm a Tottenham fan, I'm thinking, yo, pay the money or shut up, innit? Like, that's simple as that, man. Stop waffling and just pay the money. But what were you saying?
No, exactly that. Look, for me, Bayern, they're trying to come on the bully boy thing. They think that they're dealing
They
with
are.
some of the other Bundesliga clubs like Dortmund. They think they're dealing with little boys like that, where they can just come on and say, look, your player wants to come, and then the player hands in a transfer request. This ain't going to work like that. Tottenham won't do that. Harry Kane's far too low to Tottenham, and we saw what happened last time in Man City where he didn't turn up to training. He twisted the story and said, oh, look, guys, I didn't mean to do it. He's not going to come out and hand in a transfer request. His camp has come out and said that. Pay the money or just shut up. It's as simple as that. Look, you can be as confident as you want about getting him, but you can only be that confident if you're going to pay the 100 mil that we want. We want the money. You pay the money. Happily speak to him and take him. I don't think there's any Tottenham fan at this stage that's really upset or too hard gone about the thought of Harry Kane leaving. We're all accepted of it. As you guys have said, it's been a saga that's come on for a few years. And this probably at any point, the one time you can say, you know what, let Harry leave. It's to Bayern. It's not a team that we're ever going to be competing with. They're outside of our league. For me, I don't think that it secures his legacy anywhat. He can win a trophy over there. It means fuck all, if we're being honest. Like, it's the Bundesliga. You're going to a one-man team.
Bundesliga, I agree.
Unless it's Champions League, then it's a different thing. If he's very prominent in the Champions League win, then no one's going to be able to talk to him. But apart from that, no one's going to come and be like, oh yeah, Harry Kane, you won trophies. You're not going to get that round of applause. You're going to have to come back to the Premier League and then do your thing. So for me, let him go for the price. But the Bayern director's just coming out here chatting rubbish. Oh, Harry Kane, we're going to get the man. Like all of this stuff, like, bro, you're clearly not there in the negotiations. You're probably hearing things and it's making you also confident, but be confident if you're going to pay the money. You're the big man that's going to give the okay to the money. Pay the 100 mil and give us the tick then, bro. And we'll happily take it. There's plenty of other strikers out there that we're looking at. I'm not going to sit here and say that our team won't get worse without Harry Kane. It's going to drop a level, but it's something that we've needed.
Yeah, well, drop 10 levels, mate. Let's be honest. Top 10 levels. So.
I generally don't think we're going to drop as far as people think. We're going to, I feel like you bring another striker.
How many goals did anyone else get compared to Harry Kane?
Again, I'm not going to sit here and act like we wasn't a one-man team last season. For me, I'd say Harry Kane's the only player for me that played at our top level for us. Everyone else
and Son's drop-off as well. Son's drop-off was huge.
But I do think there's a lot of factors that you need to take into consideration this season where it's going to be different because you've got a new manager coming in, a new system, a lot of new players. I feel like if there's any time to change Harry Kane, it would be now because we're going to be playing a completely different way. We're going to be playing a way where we aren't relying on Harry Kane to create. We don't want Harry Kane to do any creativity anymore. We brought Maddison to take that away from him. And I also think a lot of people talking about Son. Look, I was one of the people that criticized Son last season. He had one of his worst seasons at Tottenham. He was poor, but he did come out and he had surgery. He was injured for quite a lot of, I think he said 6 to 8 months of the season because he needed surgery and he got that done throughout after the season. So for me, I think Son's going to come back better. I think he might have that little step of pace that he was missing last year. So we can expect to see a better Tottenham, a new Tottenham, and part of that should be seeing Harry Kane go. I'm happy for him to stay, but I'm also happy for him to go. Whatever way it works out for me, I think we can adapt. But if he does go, it's a good way to just for us to get that refresh and see a whole new Tottenham next season. Richarlison, you know what? Yeah, I see someone comment on him. I don't think he's going to be the number 9 to take over Harry Kane. I'm not going to come and sit here and say that.
No. He's definitely not.
I do think that he's going to earn his name back. He's going to earn the right to be a Brazilian because I know everyone's calling him Richard at the moment. He's going to come with some Premier League goals next year. I do think he's going to surprise some people. I do think that he's going to have an impact. Maybe
it's
not.
About time, man.
He's a decent player, man.
What do you think about your transfer window? It's been very just, you know what, under the radar signings. Like a lot of people don't know some of these guys.
You know what? That's true, you know. But that's a good sign, though. Sometimes when you don't know them, it's good as well. Like, you know what I mean?
I do think
in that regard.
It's been a little bit underwhelming. I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm happy with our transfer window. We all know that Tottenham needs
two centre-backs. You need two centre-backs.
And again, we're dragging out the centre-back saga like we did last time. We end up falling with only Longley when we were talking about Bastoni and all these other players. We need to go out there and get the centre-backs we want. Bring in Tapsoba and then bring in another one, whether it's Van der Ven, Joachim Addison or whoever it is, just bring in someone of a good quality that can be a backup. And that's going to be able to be versatile.
What's happening with Tapsoba and Van der Ven? Because I thought they were pretty much nailed on.
Do you know what? I thought so too. Up until Monday of this week, pretty much we had news updates every 2 days. I'm very honest. Like Fab and all these other, even like the insiders, Paul O'Keefe was saying like the deals are closed. They're still weighing up both of them. And Fab hasn't made a tweet about it for a couple of days. And every time he does recently, it's pretty much the same thing. So I don't know what's happening. I don't know. Maybe because we've just gone on to our Australian tour. There's maybe been a bit of focus off the transfers for a few days and they've maybe taken a week off where everyone just come back to training. There's a lot happening. You can't afford to do that. You generally can't. We have like a new season coming. We have pre-season coming. We've got to make the moves ASAP. And at the moment, it's just Tottenham dilly-dallying as always. Daniel Levy was out here signing someone's T-shirt the other day. I was like, bro,
George,
why is someone getting Daniel Levy's T-shirt signing? Like, what the fuck is going on? Like,
you know what I will say? You do know, like, if we miss out on our left centre back options and that, and we decide to come back in for Van der Ven, you know he's only picking one club, right?
Do you know what? Maybe you could be right about that, but I mean, we've already agreed. Like you say, it's something we do need to wrap up. I do think he's a really good player, but it's also one of those things that I wouldn't be too upset if we did lose him because prior to the transfer window, I wasn't on this thing like, oh yeah, let's bring Van der Ven in. He wasn't my top signing. He wasn't my top target. So I like what I've seen of him, but I wouldn't be upset if we do miss out on him. There's other players out there that can come in and like Tosin Adarabioyo. I don't think that he's up there, but I think Joachim Anderson, Mark Guehi, those types of players are other ones that I think.
He's a good one. I'm just gonna say this. This is probably the only time you're gonna see me bigging up Tottenham. They got their signings in before the preseason. Some of their big signings already, like the goalkeeper Maddison. Unlike Chelsea, who also have a new manager, at least this manager is going to have some of his tools ready to go come season, and he's already worked with them. Where Chelsea, their signings coming in later in the window is going to negatively affect them when the season starts.
Yeah, Absolutely. Tiang Yang says Sancho equal to Jordan Ibe. Big up you guys. And Sports Genius says respect to Saeed and Diaries for watching football. Did not know you guys knew AB. The Mexican ballers. Yeah, man. Big up to you, my guy. You know what it is? I think for me,
Bro,
it's one of
sorry
them.
to
Yeah,
cut you. Alcaraz
set
just
point.
won a set. Alcaraz just won a
Yeah,
set.
Alcaraz, this one is set, man. Let's go, man. Big one as we kind of wrap up there, man. But yeah, no, listen, man. It's been a good show, people. Big up to everybody who's been locked in. Igal, let them know where they can find you, man.
Yeah, you guys can find me on Eagle Talks Football. I'm gonna do a YouTube video later tonight at 9 o'clock. I don't know if you're doing one also, but I'm gonna be doing one there. It's gonna be Vibes from the Six, and of course, I'm also on TikTok and Twitter. So check me out, guys.
Absolutely, absolutely. Rums, let them know where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me on Regular Never a Foul, Big Six Bench, the Jerry James Show. They're the main 3 channels I'm on, man. You can find me there.
Yep, absolutely, man. Goonie, let them know what you're saying.
Man Knows Football. I actually uploaded a video today, so there's something for you there to watch. Also, I will be going live at around 9:30 with Carefree Lewis. We've got a lot to talk about. We've got a lot to celebrate as well. Certain departures out the door. You get me? So we're going to have a very smoky session. So make sure you subscribe to Man Knows Football. Don't know.
Come on, man. And Jordan, let them know, man. Durag Diaries, what we saying? TikTok, what we saying?
Yeah, man, you catch me on TikTok, Durag Diaries or _4George on all social media platforms. But apart from that, I'm here every week, every Sunday. Never a Foul, Top 6, wherever these shows are, all over YouTube, man. You catch me all over the place.
Come on, man. Big up to you, man. Big up to you. I'll be back 9 o'clock, people. For all the latest Man United talk. Onana is nearly done, people, and obviously, different talking points on Man United. So yeah, man. I'll see you lot at 9 p.m. People. We're out.